Hey guys, Sick Bowie here, and this is Things I Learned with Miracle's PA in 707. So as I said, I'm sick, I'm sorry for my voice, but I just really wanted to upload this video today. The game starts in quite a different fashion. 2 stout shields. Why? Well, Miracle is against an offlane Nature's Prophet, and now that PMS doesn't exist anymore, one close substitute would be 2 stouts. And in my opinion, against NP, this is a no-brainer. Going 2 stouts is always value. I saw some other players going for 2 stouts in different matchups, and I'm not quite sure about that. I'm not sure if that's going to become the norm, but I'm 100% on going 2 stouts against that offlaner in particular, or other offlaners like Beastmaster that have a lot of minions and deal damage too. This will give you 75% chance of blocking damage from both treants and heroes for 400 gold, and remember that Stout Shield got the damage block buffed. PMS gave you 100% block for heroes and 50% for creeps for 500 gold, so it's not that bad. Yeah, you don't get the agility, but the damage block is still pretty good since you usually want to get evasion at level 4, giving the enemy a huge timing window to harass you. As soon as the creep waves meet, pay attention how Miracle focus the treants. They're attacking Ogre, and attacking them draws no aggro, so he makes use of the fact that the creeps are full HP to help his support take less damage and farm some gold. You can see how strong Nature's Prophet is. Yeah, Ogre kinda overdid it, but even a tanky hero like Ogre without damage block falls prey to the horrors of level 1 Nature's Prophet. NP doesn't even bother attacking Miracle that much because of Stealth Shield, and pay attention how he keeps striving for the range creep denies. Do not underestimate levels on PA. This is one of the reasons why PA was not a good carry last patch, and I feel like the only reason besides the hero being buffed that they are trying to make carry PA work is that you get more experience in the lane, and even then you want to keep denying as much as possible because you're sharing experience with other heroes here. A lot of PAs just learn Blink Strike immediately or Blur at level 2, but Miracle held the point in case he got ganked without a target to blink to, so sometimes you can get evasion if you're getting ganked. In this case, his Ogre gets ganked, actually, so pay attention how he uses the dagger slow to help him, blocks the enemy, and then just learns Blink Strike to top it off and get away. Since he will be against Nature's Prophet for a while, Aquila is probably the best item for him right now. The Mana Regen helps him with the harass, and the armor is also great for his allies and himself against the wrath of treants. Remember that now you can't buy Sage's mask in the side shop, so he was bringing the mask and wanted to finish the ring in the side shop, but he gets go for it too fast and just sends the entire Aquila. Miracle played this entire early game quite passively, not only because PA is quite garbage level 1 and level 2, but because the enemy had a lot of counter gank potential and also experience advantage. Usually you can actually be quite aggressive in a 1 versus 1 if you're playing PA, but not when you're levels behind the enemy. With mid being ganked though, he goes aggressive, and with some great body blocking he almost gets a kill. See how every time Nature's Prophet walks forward, Miracle follows it up to keep blocking him? Crispy plays. But it doesn't end here though. NP summons treants, but pay attention how little damage they deal because of the increased damage block. And well, you might be saying, well, whatever. But since he took so little damage, he can actually dive Nature's Prophet with Ogre here. I'm a big fan of the route he takes to get away. He actually takes less tower hits, and he learns Blur immediately as he kills Nature's Prophet, so he only actually takes 2 tower hits. I usually like mentioning PA's Blur, and if you look at Miracle's inventory, the icon disappears seconds before Nature's Prophet shows up. If he was paying complete attention, maybe he could disengage faster, but at the end of the day, with Nature's Prophet global presence, he was pretty much dead by that gank. One thing I want to mention regarding Miracle's build is the lack of boots. A lot of people rush phase boots in this hero, while in most cases you don't need it early on. The amount of damage you can get with items like Blightstone and Aquila, and the amount of slow you already have, usually pretty much gives you the kill. You have a displacement ability as well as a slow, so if you don't get the kill super fast in your blink, most of the time you don't want to actually dive towers, because it will give time for the enemy to counter gank you. When Miracle TPs here, you can see that he's self-conscious on whether he should engage or not, but with IO relocating he can go for it. Blightstone is underrated not only because it amps all of your damage, but because your allies also deal extra physical damage with it. Since Miracle backpacked the Stealth Shield in time, they actually killed Nature's Prophet. You can see how close it was. In this game, Miracle went for treads instead of phase boots, and this is very rare not only for PAs but for Miracle himself. For instance, in this game against Newbie that he actually rushed Battle Fury on PA, he went phase boots. He was not against a PL though. Against PL, you want as much attack speed as possible to destroy destroy the illusions. And in this game, even though he doesn't rush Battle Fury, he goes for threats. This clip here highlights why you should max blink on PA 90% of the time, and also just show how the basics are important in Dota, and maybe why he also went threads. The thread switching part and the fact that you get strength. He sees Nature's Prophet here, and just seconds before a big fight unfolded in Radiant's Shrine, so Miracle probably felt like maybe more heroes could be there, but they wouldn't be able to stop him because he's 2 levels ahead of Nature's Prophet and has Bloodlust. Unfortunately though, the worst case scenario happened. Pretty much everyone was there. Pay attention to his reactions. First of all, he thread switches to Strength and doesn't pop the magic one. He cuts Sprout immediately, thread switches to Agility after taking the first Maledict tick so that he doesn't take extra damage, pops 1, goes back to Strength, and since he did all of those things and had level 3 Blink Strike, he survives just barely. He keeps throwing daggers from the fog while he backpacks his health, and even though Io YOLOs there, display was nothing more than impressive. In this other footage, PA finds a double damage rune, and while Miracle was going to defend tier 1 bottom, Ogre finds Nature's Prophet, and this is one of the best things about PA. When your team or a bulky support finds the enemies for you beforehand. The only thing that holds PA from getting 10-minute rampages most of the time are the enemy's disables, and those disables being stacked on top of you. And in this case, with Night Stalker showing up, using his stuff on Ogre, Miracle is free to just shred Nature's Prophet. Night Stalker was actually quite smart and saved the silence for Miracle, but even that was not enough. Even then, you might be wondering, dude, this is nighttime, he barely has vision, that dive is insane with no heroes showing up. Well, just seconds before, Miracle clicked on Invoker's inventory and saw no TP scroll on him, and he just seized the opportunity. As we saw in the last clip, you can't be 100% sure all the time, but he understands he has a lot of farm and levels this game, and with that double damage rune he can contest all of those heroes. A lot of people might be asking why Miracle went Desolator instead of Battle Fury first, and this clip explains a little bit about it, but there's more to it. First of all, Battle Fury is a farming item. It gives less damage than Deso and it costs more. The build up on this patch is even worse than last patch, since you don't get the extra damage from Perseverance, and on top of it, from what you witnessed to this point, how many times did Miracle actually face PL? So yeah, usually Battle Fury is a farming item, but here he wants it because of PL. At the same time, he's not facing PL, he also has an IO that actually bursts his damage early on by a lot, and he's against the likes of Nature's Prophet and Night Stalker, so he won't be able to actually farm and use that item accordingly. He can go for Battle Fury as his second big item without hindering his killing power spike post level 10, so that's why he probably went Desolator first. If we go back just a little, you might be thinking, what the hell is Miracle doing here? He's alone, he has no vision, and darkness is on. Well, if you look at his blur icon, it's still active, meaning that unless Invoker plus Witch Doctor are smoke trying to kill him, he's quite safe, and that's pretty much unlikely. Nature's Prophet was showing bottom, and he uses that information to farm the enemy jungle, maybe just burst a random hero that passes by, and you can actually know when the enemy is getting close to you, so that's why this play is quite interesting. He gets Arcane Rune here, and pay attention how boldly he's playing. A lot of PAs still fall to the trap of, oh, I'm farming, but his hero is incredibly bursty, especially when you're ahead. The reason he can dive towers and then go up the ramp without vision like this is what we already talked about. There are no invisible heroes in the enemy team, as well as they're not grouped up, so you know they're not smoked, which means you can use your blur to know if you're safe or not. He just owns the map right now, and yeah, he's not farming, but by doing that he stops 2 or 3 heroes from farming on the dire side, which almost always is a good trade. With their dominance asserted, they take 2 on mid. In this clip, Miracle is about to finish his Battle Fury when Tusk gets ganked, and you can see how torn between helping or not he is. At the end of the day, that power spike is sacred, and even though Tusk dies, he gets quite an early second item Battle Fury. And here we see the same lesson I talked about earlier. This hero, unless you have BKB or you're going for pickoffs, does not want to start the fight. There's a lot of dire heroes there, he shows up, but he doesn't blink aggressively since there's literally no vision of any enemy in the map, and he pretty much knows that everyone is there. Also, Tusk is dead. Thankfully he had Io there, so he doesn't even pop Magic Wand, and even after more disables are used, he refrains from going. The Fiending Blast is still up, and PL has the Fusel Blade now, so he kinda retreats, lures the enemy in, and only then goes for the Juggler. It's quite unfortunate because while IO plus PA is amazing, the cask works wonders against it, and I feel like he could probably actually kill everyone without IO there. I don't know. Even then, he goes out with a decent trade. Another thing to point out is that he went for the minus armor talent instead of cleave. I can see a lot of players wanting more cleave against PL and Nature's Prophet, and while it feels great against those heroes, you need to remember that you're not playing only against them. You will have to Roche, to Siege, to Burst Invoker, and the extra minus armor is insane on this hero. Miracle is critting for insane numbers right now and also has an IO on top of it. So if he crits for 1k damage, 40% of it will be cleaved, which means that the PL illusions will take 400 times 5, which is 2k damage. It will take a long time until PL has more HP than that, and even then, Miracle's crit will keep scaling. Well, we were talking about Roshan, and here he is going for it. Cleave here would be meaningless, and they get quite the quick Roche. Even if that ages though, and so much farm, Miracle starts farming again. Your level 18 power spike is massive, and there's no need to push the advantage right now. Whenever you get ages, think again whether you're close to a power spike like level 15, BKB, level 18 before you go for a play. His IO gets ganked, and while everything I said is true, there's always a counterpart, so pay attention. His IO gets ganked, and I want you to pay attention to something he was doing. A lot of people just spam dagger all the time when they're out of range, but you can always blink strike into a closer unit to dagger later. It was not needed though, but you can see that Miracle was going for it. Remember what I said about, getting to your power spikes and farming? That is true, but forcing buybacks is almost always more important than any power spike, especially when you're in control with ages in a game that you're not about to lose. So pay attention what he does here. With Night Stalker and Witch Doctor dead, Miracle just goes ham. As soon as Night Stalker is dead, you can see that the blur icon still didn't fade, which means that those PL illusions contain the real hero, and he just goes in. Pay attention, the kill that happens now was about cleave or minus armor. And I mean now, you shouldn't be farming. 3 heroes are dead. This hero shouldn't be played defensively. Sometimes you need BKB, but when you're ahead, you have ages, you have an IO on your team. Going full damage like Vlad's, Diffusal, Basher is actually advisable. See what he's doing here? This hero is ridiculously huge in pickoffs, and when you have ages and your team with you, this type of play can pay off super well. Invoker had no buyback, PL doesn't want to burst his buyback, and this is why Vlad's and the minus armor talent is so good on PA, even though a lot of people feel like Satanic is better. Maybe in the ultra late game Satanic is good in team fights, but when you can win a fight like this, the extra damage for all your team combined with so much minus armor deals with one of PA's biggest weaknesses, lack of push, since you can't actually crit buildings or use your W on buildings. With 2 heroes still dead, you need to play like Miracle is doing here, especially if you know you're ahead. The only reason the game doesn't end right now is the tier 2s on both sides, but the game is pretty much over at this point. I'll just show a quick snippet of what happens next. But anyways guys, this video is sponsored by Pugna. Those guys have been supporting me ever since the beginning of this channel. They just released Oracle, a tool that kinda tracks your abilities compared to other MMRs and teaches how to improve. If you're interested in 707 videos, there's a bunch of new content, so just check the link in the description. My affiliate link is there. I will be coaching through Gamer Sensei, so if you guys are interested, just keep watching my stream or following the channel. I'll have the link as soon as possible. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry for my voice, but I'm just so pumped that PA is actually a hero again.